wanted to talk a little bit about my personal spiritual awakening, since I have a little bit of a longer video available now that I don't have to try to upload. My awakening started much sooner than when I actually realized. It was probably at least a year or two before I even realized what was going on. I had so many physical problems coming up all at once, and it seemed to have no rhyme or reason, no reason for the ailments that I was having, such as gastroparesis, where my stomach was paralyzed and it wouldn't digest food properly, and that was a horrible experience. I had my uterus bleed for an entire year, not heavy, but it was constant blood, and the doctors really didn't have a good reason for why it developed, and it just continued to move up in the symptoms of where it was, and nothing seemed connected. I finally made the connection when I met somebody that had twin flame soulmate energy, and I started looking into the things that were happening between us, like hearing each other's thoughts, being able to feel the other person's energy. And I had never tried to do anything like that. I wasn't spiritual. I believed in God, but I didn't follow any particular religion. I really haven't been exposed to religion much, as it was kind of kept away from me. Anytime I tried to pursue a religion, something would get in my way and block me from going to it. And at this point now I understand why that happened, and it was a good thing. So as I was researching how it was possible for me to know things that I shouldn't know, I started finding information about the Kundalini and the energy, and that propelled me to go find a spiritual center and start taking classes. And I started doing guided meditations with a teacher that also did Reiki at the same time. She would do the guided meditations and walk around the room and do Reiki on each person. And as she was doing it, my biggest place was in my heart. I would leave the class and it felt like my chest was being cracked open. And that's scary, really scary, since I have previously I had cardiomyopathy when I was 20. So I had to have that checked out, make sure there was nothing actually going on with my heart. But the timing as far as doing the Reiki and then leaving and it hurting, that it made more sense. So after I started doing that, I started with another spiritual teacher and started doing classes, and I was like all in. I was trying to learn everything and find where I belonged, and never failed. Every single class I went to, there, like, something didn't feel right. She would tell us to do things certain ways, and my intuition would just go, no, do it this way. And I'm like, okay. So I went ahead and started doing things where it felt right, and I still got the answers that I was supposed to get, just not as how she said it. And another thing that happened while I was going through this is it seemed like everybody was so interested in shamanism. I don't know if it was just the particular area or what, but everybody wanted to get into shamanism, or they went over into witchcraft or something, and none of it fit for me. And I had trouble making friends. I would have some things in common with them, but then they would start talking about the shamanism and realism. Like, no, that doesn't feel right for me. So finding my place where I fit into even the spiritual was very difficult. And I know there's a lot of you out there with the same problem. And having the social media platform really helps bring those people together, whereas you might not find them in your local area. The next step I took in, and I did well with all the classes, the pendulums, reading the oracle cards, none of them I never had a problem with them. And then I had another teacher come in. She was just a guest, and she brought us journals. She handed out journals for all of us and had us start auto writing. She said, just keep writing on the paper anything that comes to your mind until your mind stops. If your mind stops, you stop. Because at that point, you're starting to think. Before that, you were channeling. So that opened up feeling a movement of energy from above, if you want to call it that, where I felt something else wanting to move my hand. So it didn't feel wrong. I followed my intuition like I had previously, and I would gently let it move the pencil or pen, and it was just wild movements for a long time, because you're getting used to another energy moving. And now at this point, I can do it, and I get all kinds of stuff that it means something. I don't know what it means. I'm still trying to translate it because there are symbols and stuff that I'm not familiar with, but it's stuff that comes through. And as I was doing this, I was also talking to guides. The Metatron, Michael, Raphael were my three main ones at the time. I also had Pablo Picasso. That really helped me as far as channeling art. I still have him some, but as I was doing that, I started channeling the light language, and it became from the auto writing, just slowly letting it take control. But I knew I could stop it. You always know, you can stop at any time. You're not at the mercy of what's controlling it. So that, as I was listening to music, I would find my hands wanting to move. And I don't know, the first 6 months of it even, it was just wild, fast. Like, it didn't seem to have any rhyme or reason, but it felt right to do it. And I think it probably took about a year before I really slowed down and started getting the more precise movements. And none of it is practiced or memorized. Each one of my videos is one take. I don't go back and do them because that is thinking about it. And this is channeling. So I don't have any way to know that it would be wrong unless I sit there and think that it's wrong. If I knew what each movement meant, then my brain would get in the way. So I do know a lot of what I'm doing now, but I also don't put it out there as explanations, because I don't want someone to sit there and look at each movement and know exactly what it is, because that stops, makes your brain get in the way. Your ego gets in the way. It's easier to let what I'm doing is connecting your higher self or your guides with you and asking for permission. That's one of the big ones when I was doing this. When I first started doing the light language, I didn't have the permission set in the videos because I didn't realize what was going on. But within a couple months, my guides were telling me, you need to put these motions in every single time before you start, and that's what creates the connection for you. And my energy is never involved in another person's energy, so there is no exchange with me. You keep your energy, I keep my energy, and it keeps us both safe. We're not picking up debris from energy from each other. But I guess I wanted to say that if you are doing light language and it seems like it's erratic and fast, give yourself time. As you go on, it will become more precise and you'll have more understanding of what you're doing. When I go back and edit the videos, the words come that I put on the screen, that's channeled as well. So I hope this helps somebody. I don't know.